So today we got another analyst from Morgan Stanley covering Sofi stock and gave it a $25 price target or 50% upside. But you already know that, so let's not waste time on saying how wonderful this news is, but actually look at what was mentioned in the report and how this will affect Sofi stock. And towards the end, I will also share a trade that I closed today, taking advantage of this positive momentum. So let's start with what was discussed today. Morgan Stanley came out and gave a price target for $25 for Sofi, which is close to 50% higher than what the stock is trading or was trading before this report came out. Now, I have mentioned this before that I do not pay too much attention to the price targets, but the details in these price target does give us some data which sometimes retail investors like you and me do not have access to. Let's take a look at some of the key points that were mentioned in the report. So number one right here, I'm going to go one by one, but actually before we discuss that, one thing that everybody should know is that Morgan Stanley has a huge position in Sofi. And matter of fact, in August, they increased their holding by almost 53%. Now, right here, as you can see, Morgan Stanley reports 53.42 increase in the ownership of Sofi. So they are covering the stock, of course, for them, for their clients, and for the industry, of course. So number one, it's getting competitive as all fintechs are trying to get a portion of Gen Z and Y. And according to the analyst, Sofi has a leg up, giving its root in the hardest part of consumer finance, lending, and of course, doing it all digitally. In short, they have really tapped into what I call the untapped market by offering so many services. Number two, the analysts expect the company user base to double in the next 2 years to about 5.3 million users. Means a huge upside to the revenue stream, and plus cross-selling will be key here. Number three, another great point made by the analyst here. High earner right here, not rich yet. Clients are the target for everyone. They are already Sofi's core customer. I've mentioned this before that Sofi was really smart to start their business from the student loan segment, and now they're reaping the benefits of it. Number four, right here, the government student loan deferral program will be ending early next year, and as per the analyst, that will drive surge in student loan volume and also the payments. Number five, the bank charter would lift revenue by roughly 10% in its first full year. So Sofi is expected to do about 1.45 billion in revenue for 2022, not this year, but for next year. And just adding 10% to the bottom line means the faster road to profit for the company. This was a really good upgrade with all the valid and sensible points, as doubling their member in next 2 years makes sense to where they are right now. So with this upgrade, we now have 7 analysts covering Sofi stock right here. And only one has a neutral rating on the stock. Now this analyst also covers a long list. This particular analyst from Morgan Stanley right here also covers a long list of another financial sector stocks. And looking at most of the companies she covers are traditional banks. So I'll be interested in reading full report on her Sofi analysis to get a better perspective on what these analysts are seeing as a driving growth factor other than what is obvious to all of us. I don't have the full report yet, but when I do, I will do a video on that. Now let's take a look at the chart of Sofi, and I'll share the trade I made today. So as you see, I have posted a few charts over here, and I'm going to go one by one. So the first chart is the intraday chart, which I took a snapshot of about like 1 or 2 o'clock. And then as you can see, as soon as the report came out, the volume was all the way really high today. So volume touched almost, I'm going to show you right here actually, volume touched 68 million shares. And usually it's 20 million shares. It was a huge volume day for Sofi today. And then as you can see over here, this is a big candle right here that was for today. As soon as the analyst came out with the price, the stock just run up. The RSI was really high, touching almost 70. Now let's look at the volume and some of the fear and greed that I always mention in my videos. So this is not very clear. I'm gonna write it again. This is 17, this is 1750, this is 18, and this is 1850. So as you can see, every time since the stock opened this morning, as soon as we got the price target, everybody was waiting for that 1750 price to kind of reach, because that's a very critical level for Sofi. We have seen many times it touched 1750 and come down. And then as soon as the price crossed 1750 is when we saw a surge in the volume come and go. This was really exciting to see, because as you see, this is the median price for today, right here between $17.50 and $18. And then as you can see, as soon as we crossed $18, the volume slowed down, people started to take a little bit of profit, and then it came back again towards the $18.50 price, which was right here. And then throughout the day, And then throughout the day, the stock maintained that 18 to 1850 mark. So this was really good to see that the volume all of a sudden spiked and it didn't bother after 1750 or 18. The volume came back even close to 1850. Then we saw over here, this is the volume that I talked about, that today we had about 68 million shares. Usually the average volume is about 20 million shares. So it's a huge 3x day for volume for SoFi. Then if we look at the 1 year chart, this is what's going on in the 1 year chart. So this is SoFi for the whole year, as you can see. Now, there are a couple of things happening over here. We are breaking that 1750 level. It's like one of the resistance level that we have to break and stay up for a while before we can make that as a new support. Like Tesla. Tesla cannot go over 800 today. It tried a few times, but then it came back down. Same thing is going on here. So if we can maintain above 1750 level for a while, then we are making that as a support, and that's a great thing for this stock. The other thing that happened on a 1 year stock today was the MACD is turning positive right here, as you can see, which is a very bullish sign because it has been in a negative zone for a long time. Since like beginning of August, it's been negative, and now it's finally turning into the positive category, which is really, really cool. Now, think about it this way. SoFi has seen these price levels before. SoFi was in 20s earlier this year. So SoFi has seen these price levels. This is not brand new price levels for SoFi. It can very well maintain and sustain these price levels. But whenever the analyst or whenever these upgrades come, we know what happened. The next day, it's a huge surge. And the video that I did earlier today, I'm getting some comments. Is this too high to buy SoFi today? Can I buy SoFi today? Or do we think it's a good entry point? So in my opinion, anytime an analyst recommends a stock, that is not a perfect day to buy the stock that day because the volume is so high and everybody's thinking, okay, am I gonna miss it? FOMO, and then everybody buys. And then 2-3 days later, when the news settle down, the price comes down. So I did not buy or add any position on SoFi today. This is what I did. So if you remember my previous videos, you know that I had 20 April 22 1750 calls. So I had 20 of those. I sold 10 of my calls today because I wanted to take advantage of this momentum, price momentum today. So I sold 10 calls and I made about, I would say, 25% profit. I sold a little bit early. I should have waited, but again, profit is profit. That's what I believe. So I sold a little bit early, making about 20-25%. I think it was 22 some percent that I made. Right now, I'm still holding these 10 calls for April 2022 1750 call, and I'm up about 34% on these. Along with that, I of course did not sell any of my shares because I'm holding it for the long term. And then I still have 100 December 2023 $15 put that I'm up about 27% on these when I was recording this video. After that, the price has gone up, so I may be up a little bit more on these. Now, as I have mentioned, we have seen it before that any time an analyst has picked up a stock, it had rallied for a day or so and then cooled down a bit. That is why I took the profit in half of my calls and still have half open, as I would wait for the bank charter news and then decide if I want to sell more and get out. I'm not adding any more shares today, especially where the stock is sitting, so I'll wait after the earnings to make any moves on the stock. I wanted to sell covered calls but missed the opportunity when the RSI wasn't overbought. The danger that I feel we have with the covered call is that if the bank charter news comes out, then all of those covered calls will be executed and I will end up losing the share. I'm not sure yet. I may sell some covered calls on half of my shares. We'll see how the charts looks tomorrow. Well, folks, thank you for your time and hope I was able to provide you some value. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos. I have an Affirm video coming out tomorrow as they have some major news which is really exciting, and I believe that's another rock star of a company. Thank you for watching. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.